Is the state of your kitchen something Gordon Ramsay would berate you for on TV? Worry not. Garten has plenty of organization tips that'll impress the worst nitpickers you know. We're all happily rocking our stainless steel water bottles and glass bento lunchboxes, and yet we still end up with all those plastic containers from Whole Foods. But before you sneak out to throw it in your neighbor's recycling bin in the middle of the night, hang on to that thing. Ina uses these containers for everything, she explained on Domino Magazine's Design Time podcast, and I just use them over and over again, and they go in the dishwasher, and they're great. And as she shared on Instagram, deli storage even works in the freezer for soup and chicken stock. She also stores pantry items in these containers, effortlessly organizing staples like nuts, dried beans, or different types of flour in delightfully tidy order. While the plastic material can survive the microwave, many culinary pros think that the heat may break down the plastic and release the chemicals that make it so durable, so you might want to skip the nuking. A rule of thumb on how long to reuse your containers: if they crack, start to feel sticky even when they're clean, cling to food smells, or it's been several months, it's time to love and let go.
Goodbye and good luck. I'll never forget you.
Maybe you enjoy blindly feeling your way through a jungle-like kitchen drawer full of stabby things, pinching your finger with a can opener, slicing your wrist on a vegetable peeler, or shredding your palm on the lemon zester. We're not here to judge your masochistic tendencies if that's really your thing. But for the rest of us normies who prefer to avoid pain and mutilation, there's a better way to do things. So grab the cutest stoneware utensil holders you can find. We're clearing out the junk drawer and putting our favorite ladles and serving spoons on full display. But before you start mingling grandma's wooden spoon with the steel pie server, let's take a page from Ina's own organization playbook. As she mentioned on Instagram, I also like big white crocs with utensils on the counter so they're easy to reach, all the white and wood utensils in one and stainless steel in the other. However, don't leave your trusty cutting boards in the breeze. A handy rack provides the perfect home for a few boards that might be wasting away in the cupboard. Now they'll be ready for their countertop close-up. Let's talk about fruit.
Fruits on a go! Go, fruits!
Maybe you grew up leaving citrus in the fridge, but when we're talking about lemons and limes, putting them out on the counter not only adds a pop of vibrant color, it also happens to be the best way to juice them. As Ina explained it on Instagram, some pretty lemons and limes on the counter not only make the kitchen feel good, but you get more juice from room temperature citrus. Told ya! Second bonus, have you smelled a perfectly ripe, freshly zested lemon? Come on! Of course, this storage method is all about the visual appeal, but it's also a strategic move to trick yourself into using more fresh citrus. Pretending for just a moment that we aren't conditioned to use exact amounts in recipes, we imagine ourselves as Ina, freely adding that impromptu finishing touch. She said on the Design Time podcast, I always have things that can stay at room temperature in bowls in front of my butcher block because I might be working on a recipe and there's an orange there. And I go, you know what? I'm looking for something a little bitter in this. Maybe I'll try some orange. Let's be honest, anything except for one of those over-the-top refrigerators on Real Housewives is vulnerable to morphing into a 37-degree-ish culinary wasteland. We all know that behind the closed doors of our fridges, a once organized series of yogurts, dressings, and veggies can very quickly become a crime scene with the ketchup pointing fingers at the Frankfurters. Worry not, Ina's got some tips to get your fridge looking like a display model at IKEA. We trust her. Remember how she once owned her Barefoot Contessa store? She definitely knows her way around an enticing display. She recalled on the Design Time podcast, I used to be a specialty food retailer, so if the Evian wasn't lined up perfectly in the refrigerator at the store, it would drive me crazy. Even if you don't stock chilled Evian, you can 100% organize like you do. Ina suggests grouping similar items together, with dairy, proteins, and veggies each enjoying their own spots in the fridge. Anything with a label, face it forward so you can easily read it. Storing vegetables isn't just one berry container fits all. You can try throwing all your produce in the crisper drawer, but don't be too shocked when you discover that your fresh basil has turned into something brown, soggy, and not of this world. Luckily, we have Ina's methods to save us from these tiny tragedies. First, not everything needs to go in the fridge. Basil is one that you can trim and store like fresh daisies in water out on the counter. The same goes for whole tomatoes, avocados, onions, potatoes, apples, and fruit that is yet to ripen. All that stuff can sit pretty outside the fridge. But as for veggies that do like it nice and chilly, Ina has thoughts. She keeps her carrots wrapped in a moist paper towel and zipped up in an airtight bag. This helps them stay crunchy for days. And she has her cut asparagus soaking up all the moisture it needs while perched in a cup of water. With a little TLC and placement of your produce in its ultimate spot in your kitchen, your veggies will last even longer than a Martin Scorsese movie. It's the the lusted-after walk-in closet of food lovers everywhere, a stunningly stocked and organized pantry. And as we definitely expected, Ina's pantry is a thing of spectacular beauty. You've probably seen Kim Kardashian's pantry with her labeled snacks and whatnot. Well, this isn't that. This is for those of us who cook, bake, simmer, broil, and saute, who need the right ingredients and our favorite tools at our fingertips. Ina kicks things off for us with some open wire shelving and clear storage boxes. The vibe is utilitarian and stylish, and fully capable of organizing the good stuff. Ina explained on the Design Time podcast, "I have like-minded things together. All the oils and vinegars together. I have all the sweet things like honey and caro syrup and molasses. All of those are together. All of the pastas are together, the grains are together, chocolate and vanilla and things like that, and the baking supplies are together. So I have them grouped." If your kitchen looks like you just had a major fight with some gremlins after making a pan of cupcakes, this one's for you. Meal Prep with Ina is all about doing the messy work ahead of time, so you can keep it easy breezy on the day of. That way you're not stuck doing dishes for hours after you've eaten. Ina was so inspired to save us from ourselves that she even wrote about it in Go-To Dinners. As she explained to People magazine, "I found easier ways to make delicious dinners with make-ahead, prep-ahead, freeze-ahead recipes plus twofers, cooking one dish that becomes something totally different the next night." She also simplifies recipes by using just one pot for the entire meal, resulting in much less kitchen clutter to deal with later. We specifically have eyes on her chicken in a pot with orzo, which she showcased on the Today Show a while back. Here's a friendly reminder to stop drooling on yourself. Expired spices, oils, and baking sodas, it's best to just ditch them.
Get him out of there!
Nobody wants flat cakes, flavorless seasonings, or an expired vinaigrette of free radicals drizzled over their salads. So feel free to pull a total Ina and kick those old pantry items to the curb. As she posted to Instagram one April, "Spring cleaning time. Every year, I organize my pantry and weed out old oils and baking powder. It's very satisfying to have an organized pantry. Not only does this trick eliminate ingredients that no longer do their job, it helps you figure out what you'll need to pick up during your next shop. Spoiler alert, it's much easier to do this task once a year versus while you're in the middle of cooking a complicated recipe. But hold on a minute. Before you chuck that old baking soda, you might want to think about keeping it around for its second life as a cleaning agent. Adding to a soft, damp sponge, baking soda offers extra abrasiveness for scrubbing those tough spots in sinks and tubs without leaving any scratches. Here's a kitchen organization hack for your head. If you've witnessed the number of timers beeping during the showstopper round of the Great British Bake Off, you already know how important it is to time your bakes.
That's delicious.
That is disgusting. That is so disgusting.
But when you've got multiple things cooking at once, each with its own temperature and timeline, you can keep the mental frazzle at bay by busting out several kitchen timers, just like Ina. During a kitchen tour for New York Times Cooking, Ina showed off her timer collection.
These are really important. Timers, I have lots of timers. I don't want to put something in the oven and forget about it, which I can do.
Yes, all of her high-end appliances probably feature their own state-of-the-art timing technology, but it's way more fun to turn the dial on a handheld version and then hear it ding when the food is ready, right? If you want to go full Ina, pick up a couple of white Lux Minute Minder timers. With a clearly visible titled clock face, 60 different minute settings to choose from, and a long, loud ring, you'll never burn your cookies and overcook your roast at the same time ever again. Does anyone actually use real cookbooks anymore? We can remember working our way through The Joy of Cooking or Ina's Cooking for Jeffrey, lovingly dog-earing our favorite pages while wiping up chocolate drips from the edges. Now we Amazon Prime our favorite chef's latest edition, display it, and go straight to our phone to read the recipe. Whichever way you cook with your literary companion, Ina's all about keeping your content in mint condition. She recommends organizing recipe cards and other ideas into a binder, where transparent sleeves offer the perfect wipeable surface for any splatters, spills, or explosions. We can scooch this tip into modern times by also applying it to hardcover cookbooks and iPads that may be spending a lot of time next to bubbling soups and sauces. If you use a clear book cover for the books or a see-through sleeve for your device, you can splish-splash all you want around the kitchen, using the spatula as a microphone. As Ina once noted of her cooking during an interview, "You can do whatever the you want to do. I'm just having fun here." We know Ina loves a good drink. She's clearly got a full bar's worth of top-shelf booze on hand at all times. But she doesn't just serve up the goods willy-nilly on a random bar cart, letting guests go nuts however they please. Instead, Garten keeps her booze cleverly organized in her pantry and brings out just what she needs when she's ready to party. We've all seen the Pinterest bar carts that people adorn their living rooms with, but Garten skips the hassle of maintaining such a thing and stocks her alcohol in her pantry. If she's serving guests, she mixes an easy pitcher-friendly cocktail ahead of time or puts out just just what's needed for the event. Just like everything else in her kitchen, we were curious about which alcohol makes the cut for the famous cook. Garten shared with fans, "I usually have scotch, vodka, bourbon, and gin, and it's always good to have a red and white wine on hand. For mixed drinks, I would stock tonic, club soda, and ginger ale."